want to say good morning to all of you that have joined us at this point. Let you know that we are in for what I think is a pretty wonderful ride um, in regard to today's subject matter, the book, The Power of Silence. And we have a chapter coming out of that particular book. There we go, right there. If you are joining us for the first time, the way that we do the virtual book club live chat is that we are live from the very beginning. Now, if you're a regular, you know that what we do is we have an opening and so forth. But when we do this, we are live because some of the services we use require that we be live. To be honest with you, that we be live. We can't just do our regular thing with the music and all of that, but we actually have to do a live production. And once we get so many hours with one of the services, we will be able to uh, do it a little bit different. But for the virtual book clubs, it is live on about 7 different platforms right now. So if you're on any of them, we say welcome, welcome, welcome. In addition to that, to let you know that if you do want to participate in the live chat, that is done through Facebook or YouTube or coming right to our platform. And you can find our platform on our website at unityocs.org, and it tells you how to log in to be a part of what we like to call our virtual pew. Now, the book. Some of you got to notice that it is going to be a part one and a part two, or a part one today, let me say that. And the first part is some very uh, dense reading, you could say. And I don't think that if we treat it properly, that we're going to be able to get through all of it with the receiving that the power that should come out of that. So we're going to take our time. We're going to make sure we get it right, because actually the um, um, the second part, as powerful as it is more. It's a little more comprehensible, I would say, especially if you have an idea of what was shared in the first part. So the first part is truly extremely important. So we're going to make sure we spend the time necessary with our slides and go through the first part over these next 45 or so minutes. And because we're in one of those months that has 5 Sundays, on the fifth Sunday, if necessary, and I do believe it will be, we'll have part two of this important material. You say, well, why is it so important? You know, so many of us in this practice and in many of the spiritual practices struggle with how do we get it to affect our lives? How do we get it to work with our lives? How do we get it to help to change our lives? And what the virtual book club is designed to do, other than open up a way that we can communicate, is also to give us some foundation pieces back taking us back, in most cases, back to some of the earlier writings to see what the idea was when this movement started in the early stages, in the infant stages of it. So it's our hope that we can um, provide that type of material so that you can build your foundation. Each person, it's important to know that each person builds their own foundation. It doesn't matter how much they get from the reading, the minister, the classes, and so forth. At some point, it has to be incorporated. It has to be made your own. Thanks for being here with us today. Unity of Chicago South, Beyond Walls, New Thought, Spiritual Community, the #1 live streaming New Thought ministry, spiritual community, streaming live from Chicago. I'm Reverend R. Kent Turner, one of the ministers here, founding minister, but one of the ministers here. We have several. Next week is the 4th Sunday, so you will encounter 2 of our wonderful divine feminines, and Reverend Dr. Stephanie Wilson Coleman and Reverend Bonnie Thompson Ford, as they present you with the divine feminine experience on the 4th Sundays of each month, with a few exceptions. And then, as I said, the 5th Sunday for March, which should be March 30th, I believe, we will be doing part 2 of this important material, the duality of self. You know, when you think about duality, many times some of us think about, well, there's the good and the bad. And today we should kind of move past that concept and understand that each negative, positive, however we want to see it, has a purpose, and we can benefit from them. We can benefit from them. So without further ado, let's get into our slides today. Now, I went through some of them, and most of them are pretty good, but there are a couple that are a little shaky. So bear with us as we go through them, and know that the heart was good. The Duality of Self, Horatio Dressler is our author. There's a lot we could say about them. Again, I'm Reverend R. Kent. And let's start with this statement. One of the most strongly marked characteristics of the inner life is the play of moods, the duality of self. So right here, we're being told that it's about our moods. Now, you may be aware of that, you may not be, but that's the direction we're going into, and it's how our moods play in this duality of self that we're going to examine today. The characteristics of the inner life, the play of moods, the duality of self. So you might say, my moods, how does my moods have anything to do with this duality of self, with good, bad, positive, negative? How does that work? Well, as it says here, the higher and lower moods are sometimes found in one individual, are most times found in one individual. The majority of us live in fragments. The mind is a chaos. The sublime and the ridiculous mingle. We are not only prisoners of ideas, but creatures of whims, fears, and sentiment. Think about that for a minute. Just give that some thought. So it's not just about our thoughts in our mind, but there's some external factors going on too. And playing into this duality, ideas, creatures of whims, fears, and sentiment. Sit back and relax and think about that for a moment. So it's not just what I think, it's my environment too. It has something to do with the situation. It's a conflict, and humans conflict. Every person knows what it is to possess the two natures. Each of us has at once an angel or higher nature and a devil he uses or a lower nature. Say, well, yeah, I kind of knew. I knew that. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm bad, sometimes I'm, whatever. But how do those moods play in the who we are? And how do we, if we do at all, tame or use those moods to build the character that we choose to be? Question. Well, when I'm this, I'm that. When I'm mad, then I do. Let's see. Let's see if there's an answer in today's talk. Again, the human's conflict. If the lower nature is largely dominant, the pessimistic mood is likely to color the philosophy. If the higher nature is more frequently triumphant, we may have an optimist. So let's see. If I tend to be pessimistic, it might indicate that I'm functioning from the lower negative nature. Now, what does that mean? Well, it may mean that I don't even realize that I'm functioning from that nature, that it has become such a part of me, and I'm in such an environment that it just seems natural. If things are bad, things are bad. I mean, what the heck? What are you trying to do? Trying to tell me that I should be Pollyannish and things are bad and I should say they're good? What are you saying? I don't think it's quite that simple. Not quite. The essential idea for us is the possibility that a person may conquer various states and pass beyond them, once becoming conscious of the focus of their consciousness. Mm. Wow. Let's sit back for a minute. So, if I become aware, consciousness is being aware, if I become aware of my focus and I don't really like how I'm interacting with my life experience, then I can overcome it. That's the formula. That's what he's giving us as a formula. Then he's going to explain some techniques and how we can do that. But let's break it down. Basically, what we're saying is if I don't realize that I am leaning toward negative influences, then I'm not aware of why I'm such a pessimist. I think that's just how the world is. That's how I see the world, and it makes sense to me. And yes, yes, yes. But if I become aware that it's the material I read, it's the music I listen to, it's the shows that I watch, it's the people that I'm around, it's the conversations that I have, it's my choice of foods, you see, if I become aware of what's feeding into that negativity that creates a pessimistic attitude, once I become aware of it, then I have the choice, the opportunity, the chance to change it. You say, well, I don't know. How can I do that? Well, right here, this gets to the crux of what we do in New Thought. It is about getting a new thought. It is about getting a new thought. You say, well, a new thought doesn't change the circumstances, doesn't change what's happening. Not at all. But what's happening to you is happening to hundreds of other people. thousands of other people. What's happening to me is happening to hundreds of other people, thousands of other people. So my question to me is this: are all those hundreds of other people and thousands of other people reacting to what's happening to us in the same manner, or are some of them reacting in a different way? And if they are reacting in a different way, why are they doing it? And how did they come to be able to react in a different way? You see. So I am saying it is our reaction, and what our author is saying, it is our reaction to circumstances. And if you've been following Unity of Chicago South or following my talks, you know that that's nothing new. If you've been involved in New Thought, metaphysics for any length of time, you know that that's nothing new. Not at all. There's not a lot new under the sun. It's just new ways to approach it, new ways to interpret it, new ways to perceive it, new thoughts about it. So I may not have realized that there are things that are creating me being this optimist or pessimist. It's not just merely seeing this, it's more than just seeing a thing a certain way. It's a lot more. And maybe if I was aware that there was so much involved with me being an optimist or pessimist, and I wanted to change being an optimist or pessimist, can't understand why one would want to change being an optimist, but anyway, then there's some methods and techniques that can be used to do so. Wow, that's pretty good stuff. That's pretty good stuff. But let's understand, how can we tell? And these moods that we have can help. And our slide here is saying you choose. You choose the thoughts that you want to have. Well, that's easy to say, but you don't understand my circumstance. You are right. I truly do not understand your circumstance, nor do you understand anyone else's circumstance. And our author tells us later on, when we find someone who is an optimist, we always have, many of us have excuses. Well, you were born that way. You don't have the problems that I have. You had a different upbringing, blah, 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 blah. Never realizing that there is work, there is a method, there is a system that you, me, anyone can use to change from the pessimistic vision to an optimistic vision. We don't know if that person that was born that way, we don't know that for sure. We don't know. But we do know that they have a different outlook on life, toward life, in their life experience than we do as pessimists. Now let's deal with moods and measured action. Okay. So emotion is apt to be temporary, disruptive. So I'm pissed. I'm happy. Temporary. I'm happy that temporarily disrupts negative experience. So either. But how do we handle it? Therefore, we let the sun set on our wrath. If we understand it, I'm in a mood and I need to just stop for a minute. I need to not take any action for a minute. I'll revisit it tomorrow. Sometimes we don't want to do that, right? I'm mad, I want to deal with it right now, darn it. Aware of the subtleties of personal infatuation. I really think that this is the one. This has got to be the one. Yeah. What's a measured action? To seek solitude. To seek solitude when we want to know what we really think. to be quiet, to be at one with our inner self. Another move. When ill, we know that life wears an entirely different aspect. Hmm. And then it says, it's not a time. It's not a time when I'm ill to propound a philosophy of the universe. What is that saying? When I'm at my worst, when I'm feeling terrible, I shouldn't decide that the world is fill in the blank. Because my mood is affecting my thinking. And each one of these cases is about the mood affecting the thinking. The mood affecting the thinking. So if we get nothing out of the day today, this part of the lesson, it's the fact that I need to check my mood to check my action. What was I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What was I feeling? Now, he spends a lot of time in this first part giving us examples about that and telling us that if we do that, it will have an effect. It will have an effect on how we see the world. So that's some pretty basic stuff. It's nothing really earth-shattering about that. So let's stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. How often do we say after the fact, I was probably blank? My people tell me, you were probably hungry. That's probably why you acted like you acted. I had to be mad at this person because I had to do this because I was mad at this person and I had to let it out. That's one of the things that I used to use, and sometimes it still comes up. So, what are you saying, Reverend? I need to know. We want to start, if we want to make some adjustments in our life experience, we want to start attaching the mood to the action. Wow. How do we do that? Well, I don't get mad anymore. I don't get whatever. No, I'm not saying that. And he's not saying that either. He's saying that when we take action, what mood were we in? When we take action, what mood were we in? And to record that in our brain, in our psyche, in our memory. Oh, I had chocolate cake and I was smiling at everyone. Oh, I had my favorite smoothie and life was good. I just felt really good. He said, well, why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense. Sure, if I had something that I like, then I like things well, it's to understand that there's a connection to your mood, what caused your mood, and your action. For instance, if you know your encounter with a particular individual, a particular group of individuals, or a particular situation sends you off. And from that encounter, the rest of your day, the next hour, whatever it may be, is really uncomfortable for you. If you understand that, then you know that that group, that situation creates a mood that plays out in actions. Well, I kind of knew that. No, most of the times we think, whenever I'm around those people, they get me so upset that I'm just upset the rest of the day. But we're not really locking in on whenever I get with those people, my mood changes. My mood becomes thus and so, and I act out from that feeling, that mood. So it's the mood that we want to deal with, right? So those people create a situation that we fall into a particular mood. And then, as we just read, as the slide is telling us there, what's our measured action when we know that? When we know this group of people, I can't avoid them. I see them at the office. I see them on the baseball field. I see them at a church. I see them wherever I see them. Not able to avoid them. But when I do see them, this is what happens. Now I understand that when I see these people, when I see this situation, when I encounter this situation, it affects my mood. And because it affects my mood, there is action that I can take to address my mood, because I'm not concerned about the people, the situation, or whatever. I'm going to see them again. But it's the mood that I have that carries me forth the rest of the day and affects how I interact with my life experience. Say, but it's the duality of self and the mood. So how do we get to that? Well, I said it earlier. We all carry the devil and angel situation, the negative, positive situation within us. We all have it. So most human beings have it. And each of them create a particular type of mood. And from that mood, we react. We thought we reacted to the encounter, right? Yeah, those are people again. Oh, there, that thing is again. Oh, they have to do that again. No, it's not that. We don't control that, but we control how it interacts with us inside and what it connects with. And it connects with that negative devil, whichever one you want to call it. And it creates a mood that needs to be addressed. You see, the mood needs to be addressed. You say, well, what do I do? I say, oh, that's okay. Everything's fine. Sometimes I'm accused of that. It's not that at all. I'm not saying that at all. I recognize that this created a mood and I did this. So I don't like that mood that it created that supported me taking this action. So when this mood comes, when this situation comes, what action am I going to take? What measure am I going to take? Oh, this puts me, whenever I hear this music, whenever this happens, it puts me in a very sad mood. I know that. And then from that sad mood, my conversation changes. I like the music, but since it puts me in a sad mood, maybe after I hear the music, I shouldn't interact with people for a few minutes. Maybe I should just be still for a few minutes and let that pass, the sadness pass. So when I interact with people, I'm not coming from that mood, you see, because it's the mood that creates the action or supports the action, let me say. We follow? Just kind of settle with that for a while. So I'm acting out of moods. When I'm happy, the world is happy. I shouldn't have given away that particular item when I was so happy. The mood, and maybe my joy, my exhilaration, maybe I should pause just for a moment. Wow, when I'm in this state, I know that I can go really crazy with just giving out joy and love. And let me just pause for a moment. Not because I don't want to do it. Let me just pause, gather myself, and go forward with this mood of joy and love, but more of an understanding and a control of it. Because it's the mood, again, that creates, that supports the action, that supports the action. Let's move on. says, let us divide all moods, and lets us know that the soul dwells on two general levels, on each of which there is a thought stream. So we just spent a lot of time on that. The soul of us, the life of us. This again, that I don't like to keep saying the negative, positive, but so let's use his words: lower and higher, the lower and higher. And one, the lower, is consciousness, is life in sensation, in matter, and in mere fact. Okay, so what does that mean? Remember that exhilaration? Lower. The fact of the matter is, they are. The fact of the matter is, it's not good. The fact of the matter is, it's not enough. The fact of the matter is, facts. And then in matter. In matter as opposed to, say, well, what's matter? Matter is seeable, right? We could also say in the formed. That would be another way to say it. In the form, those things are formed. What are some of the things that are formed? We could say that this lower consciousness is in the car, the clothes, the house, those things. Whether the house is great enough, the car is super enough. Whether the food is good. Now, the higher level of consciousness, the plane of insight, the realm of ideas and values. What's the difference? So I from the higher level, I'm looking beyond just what I feel, the sensation. I have insight. Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling really good right now, but maybe now is not the time to approach that person. Well, now is not the time to make that decision based on what my mood is right now. Maybe I just should calm down a little bit before I write that check to that charity. Maybe I'm going to write it, but I want to write it in a different state of mind. The realm of ideas. So it's not the house, the car, the substance things. It is the idea of things. So why is that different? Well, right now I may be in this position, matter, jobs, relationship, whatever it may be. But in the realm of ideas, I can do anything. I may be miserable right now, but in the realm of ideas, there's something there that can make me happy, that I can become happy with, not make me happy, but I can become happy with. And then values. We're going to learn a little bit later in this part that on the lower, whatever is thought of may be true. This is not a good situation. This car is wearing me out. This job, this uh, this weather is miserable, and I'm miserable because of it. Those things can be very true on this level, but we'll learn that from a higher, when we can come from a higher level, that the value becomes more important than the actual what's happening. We change. What does that mean? The value becomes more. The car becomes transportation. The job becomes a means. The relationship has a different value. It's not what it was, it's a different value. And that we can go on and on with that. Okay. So we're introducing the higher lower as opposed to the negative positive, the higher lower, the higher lower. Okay. And we're going to also learn that both the higher and lower both have value in building. Now remember, this is a live chat, so if you have any questions, you're on YouTube or Facebook, either one, we're in a position to address them. So just shoot them in. We aggregate them right here, and I'm able to answer them. Again, as we continue to divide all moods, the lower, the soul is under the law and is painfully conscious of it. It's characterized by a sense of limitation with and a painful awareness of the process that is going on. The higher, it is in the attitude of the victor. It sees the goal toward which the process is trending, and the attention is put on the idea of the soul as the master. Woo! We got to go through those, right? Absolutely. Lower, the soul is under the law and is painfully conscious of it. Oh, you have to do this to do that. What does that mean? Well, I got to go to work every day. Well, I don't have this. Well, the house needs that. Well, the children need this. That's the focus. That's the focus. And it hurts if I can't do this for the children, if I'm at a place I don't want to be, if the car keeps breaking down, if my home is in shambles. Yeah, I can't be anything but painfully aware. And because of that, there's a limitation. I feel a limitation. I can't do because. I can't do because. If I could, I can't do because. I can't do because. Now, if you say, well, you're making that sound like it's really bad, I don't mean to. Remember, I said that we're going to learn from Dresser that both the lower and the higher have a place and can be used to build, to build, to build the character that we want. Both can be used to build the character that we want. So it's not just about, oh, I just can't think this way, I have to think this way. There's a way to look at the lower and our experiences with the lower and use that to help build the ultimate character that we want, the character within us, not the person character, but the character within us and how we see things, and even in the midst of, and if you haven't read it or you get a chance to read it later on, as I said, the first part is some dense reading, but he tells you that as he's writing this, he's in pain, and he recognizes that his pain takes him to the lower, but that the work that he's done allows him to move beyond the lower. Didn't say I can't, just to move beyond it. So it's a recognition, right, of the lower existing and being in that space at that time, and then deciding to move beyond it, not to deny it, not to say it doesn't exist, not to say I'm not giving in to it, but to say, yeah, I know you're here, but we can't do that right now. We have to do this. We have to move beyond where you're holding me at this point. So let's move beyond that and the ability to do such a thing. Hmm? It's about building the character that we want. It says, finally, a painful awareness of the process that is going on. That's my focus. I'm focused on what's happening to me. You say, wow, you make that sound like I should. No, none of this is should or shouldn't. Again, I attempted to preface this with the fact that our author told us, or is going to tell us, and continues to tell us, that both the lower and the higher have impact on the character that we build. It's what we take from each. Okay, so yeah, I'm aware of the situation, and my focus is on the situation. And because my focus is on the situation, later on, that will help me build character that I want. And going over to the higher side, the attitude of the victor. Hey, I understand how it is right now. You see athletes with this type of attitude. Yeah, I know we're down, but the game's not over. Game's not over. I'm in it till the whistle blows. I'm in it to the last whatever. I'm in it to the last. It's not over yet. That's the victor. Even if you don't win, but you have the higher, higher, higher mood that propels you forward, and it changes how you function. We're down by 3. We're moving the ball. You see the trending toward success. Say, well, you're just trying to trick yourself. It's only 6 seconds left. You can't score by 3 points back. You just won't. Yeah, it does. It happens. It hasn't happened to me yet, but it happens. And it's important that we know that it happens. You see, that gives us the ability to deal with the trending. Thank you, Rare. Appreciate you. And then the last one for the higher. The attention is put on the idea of the soul as the master. Oh, come on now. This is all, if you felt it's following, right? The trending toward the game's not over. And Reverend Dr. Stephanie uses it quite a bit. I am the captain of my ship. I'm the master of my soul. I think it goes like that. To realize that, yeah, I understand all of this is happening, but I control how I deal with it. I don't control that stuff. I don't control the last 6 seconds of the game. I don't control that the game is over. We didn't get the 3 points, but I do control how I deal with it. Some of our younger people today don't control that. No, we're going to fight. We lost the game, but we don't like it. The ref cheated. We don't like it. Listen. Let's talk about that. Don't play like you've never been there. Most of us have been there at one point in time where we like not really happy with the outcome, right? And some of us say, we're just gonna get over it. We walk away from it. But we're being told here that we can use that to build the character that we want. We can use that. I'm the master. So how I react to this situation, not trying to be an angel, not trying to be holier than thou, but what's good for you? What's good for your character? What's good for you to move forward and not take the head off the next person you meet? What's good for you? What's good? See, that's the master of your soul. When I say this is good for me, it's good for me not to speak. And you see that sometimes with athletes and the media says, well, they didn't come to the podium, or we're supposed to have 5 minutes with them. And they refused to talk to us, or they stayed in the shower, or whatever it might be. And they might be saying at that point, now is not the time to talk to me. I am the master of my soul, not the time to talk to me. Well, they're going to get fined. You should fine me because it's better than what would happen if you talk to me. So I'm going to take this break right now. How many times do we do that? We take that break and say, now it's not the time for me to appear. Now is not the time for me to do. Now is not the time. You see, I got to get there. No, it's not the time. Got to find a way. I hope you can see how we're moving this and seeing that this is not something that you want to jump through. We want to continue. The soul dwells in two general levels, on two general levels. And there's a thought stream on each. Remember, there's a thought stream on each one. So on the lower level, there's a stream of thought, and these are some of the things that support that stream of thought. On the higher level, there's a stream of thought, and these are some of the things that support that stream of thought. That's all that's being said. On the lower level, life is seen as a conflict where there's constant hating and fighting and winning and losing. It's the plane of temptation. Why am I doing this? I could just drop out. I could just have another, I can just, whatever. It is a closing in. Hey, it's about me. I'm hurt. I'm in pain. It's all about me. And he says it's a selfish act. I ain't feeling it, so. And it's the realm of judgment from appearances. So important. It looks bad. It doesn't look like it's going to work. Have you ever been there? Oh my God. I just don't see the win. I just don't see the. There's no way, no. And he's letting us know now from that attitude of there's no way we can build character. Why is that so important, Rev? Why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep hammering that? For the simple purpose that so many of us think that the negative, the lower, the devil, we started with devil, then we came to negative, and now we're at lower. The lower has no place, has no purpose, has no value. But we've gone through it. Why not take some experience out of it that can help us build the character that we want? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The higher, the higher. There's a stream of thought. Strife is seen in the light of the peace, which is its outcome. Yeah, I'm going through this now, but it gets better. I ain't worried. I ain't worried about the going through part. I'm gonna make it through this. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be better off for it. Somebody comes up to you, how the hell are you gonna be better off for that? How is that possible? That's so naive. Because there's something in there, and I'm not gonna get into what's in there, but because there's something in there, and I'm working to get to something in there. It's kind of like a Brazil nut. I don't know if it's a Brazil nut or Brazilian nut. It's hard as heck to crack, isn't it? But boy, the meat inside is so tasty. Huh? There's something inside of this situation, and I'm going to get whatever it is that's going to be good for me. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying the situation is good. I'm not saying, whoa, God gave it to me. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that it's something in there and I can get something out of it, and I'm going through it anyway. So why in the heck you don't I get something out of it? Just saying. Stream of thought in the higher. It's the domain of that quiet composure which overcometh. The higher. Could say spiritual, but I won't. Remember, this is a live chat. So you can shoot questions if you're on Facebook or YouTube. But as we're winding down, though, maybe next time when we come back for part 2 on the 5th Sunday of this month, which is March 30th, if I'm counting it correctly. It's going to be all right. I don't know how, but it's going to be all right. You see people with that attitude all over the place. Now, I'm not saying that we're supposed to emulate people with attitudes. I'm saying we should learn. We can see it's possible, which is something I said earlier. We want to know the possible of a situation. And then we want that possible to be part of our attitude toward the situation. It's possible to overcome this. It's possible to get out of this. It's possible to change this. I don't know how. I just have to know and have to accept the fact that it's possible. See, without accepting the fact that it's possible, I'm not going to overcome it. I might get through it, but I won't overcome it. Overcome it means I got through it and I got something out of it. I'm not saying I don't want to get through it. Hey, getting through it is great, huh? But overcoming it is better. And of course, this person is more of an outgoing, unselfish person, the person that's functioning from the higher stream of thought. Okay. That's where we're at now, the higher stream of thought. And then finally, characterized by the right, the right, huh? The right judgment. Righteous judgment. That's what you heard in scripture. Righteous judgment. Not just what I see, but knowing that there's probably more to what I see, and I don't know what it is right now. So I'm going to judge the fact that there's more something, and I can get whatever I need to get out of it, whatever's there for me to get out of it. Not saying it feels good. We're real close to where we need to be at this particular point. It again is not about being Pollyannish. It is about saying that I want to function from a different stream of thought, higher stream of thought. I can use all of the things that have happened to me on the lower stream of thought to help me get to the higher stream. And I can use those things that have happened that when I had those momentary high stream thought moments, and I can put them together to create the character that I really, really want. I don't want to be Pollyannish. I want to see things as they are, but I want to be able to change my opinion of how things are when things change. That's that. Yeah, it looked really bad. Looked like it wasn't going to happen. Wow. I can see how it happened now. And I can see that in the future, instead of me looking at it's never going to happen, I can look at the possibility of it happening. And you see, that's a way of building character from the two situations. One, it couldn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Two, oh, it happened. Yeah, it did happen. So I have to change my view about it happening. I see it's possible to happen. And not to take either one of those by themselves and place them in the new character. From now on, I'm going to see everything as possible. From now on, I'm going to know when I run into a situation that seems impossible, that there's a way that it can happen. There is a possibility in the possibility of that non-possibility situation. Because when we don't do that, what happens? I can't think that anything is impossible. So I'm fighting against a natural instinct to see something as it is, as it appears to me, when instead I can see it as it appears to me and then realize that as it appears to me is not the whole thing. There's more to it that I cannot even see. So there's some possibility in there that I don't even know, right? And I'm going to kind of go with that and let it mill together. I see it as being impossible, but I know that there's a possibility in there. And that becomes the character that I go forth with. I don't go forth with, oh, it can't, oh, it always will. I go forth with, yeah, I see it like that, but there's a way. There's a possibility in there that I can't even see, but I know it's in there. That's when I open myself up to seeing the possibility that's there that I cannot see now. We're already over, so we're going to wrap this up real quick. To the extent that one is aware of the superior influences, one may entirely neglect the lower order forces. In general, the lower is the realm of fate, the higher is the realm of freedom. You said, but you just said that. Yeah, you still see it. You don't have to, but it doesn't have the influence. Yeah, I see it as it's broke, it's whatever. But it doesn't have the influence on setting a mood. Remember, we're talking about mood. Setting a mood for you. It happens, I see it, but I'm not controlled by that. Because I know that there are possibilities that exist within that brokenness And because I know that there are possibilities, I'm going to have my mood, supported by that. That's the realm of freedom. And let's finish it up. The moral, of course, is easily drawn. One should push through into the sunlight, live on the higher level as much as possible, hold to the ideal, dwell on the outcome, not on the details of the evolutionary process. Yet, there's a lesson to be learned from both points of view. It is through, it is through, it is through, it is through both of them. As I understand, that's difficult to read. I told you we had a couple of slides in there that just didn't want to work out right. But it is through going through the, or it is by going through the lower that we can elevate to the higher. We can. It doesn't, I don't, nobody, you didn't hear it here. You got to go through the hecky do so you can get to the boo boo. No, I didn't say that. And neither did he. What he's saying is that you can learn from going through the hecky do. You can learn from going through the hecky do. So if hecky do happens in your life, learn whatever you need to learn, whatever you can learn, whatever you can discern from it, and keep moving toward the boo boo, the good stuff. You know, we don't like to go over here. It's really important that we stay as close to time as we can. We're about 5 or 6 minutes over. Let me see. It looks like we're about almost 10 minutes over. So with that said, we're going to wind it up. Going to stop it. We're going to say that part two is going to take place on March 30th, Sunday, March 30th. It will be live again. The material is still available on our website, unityocs.org. Metamedia is the page that you can go to and use the duality of self. As I said, the first part of it is some really dense reading. It's not because he uses a lot of heavy words, it's because it was written back in the early 20th century. That's why. So the vocabulary is a little different, the style is a little different, and his point, what he's trying to get to, kind of, you kind of have to really get in there to get to the point. But it is available, and we will finish it up with the last part on ways to do this, ways to go through the process of building this character, because the duality is there. It is a duality of self that is there. It is a lower and a higher that's going on all the time. It is a negative and positive. It is a devil and an angel. It is all of that, and it's there. And when we recognize it's there, and he's helping us say it's there, how can we utilize both at the same time? I'm Reverend R. Ken Turner. You have been with us today on Unity of Chicago South. Virtual book club live chat happens every third Sunday normally, and when we have 5 Sundays, sometimes we end up with part one and part two as we did this time. Until next time, be kind to yourself and find someone else to be kind to. Namaste.